Hi, everybody. Pat Hand here from Dancing Moon Travel. Thank you for joining us. We're glad to have you here. And if you're joining us later, you weren't able to join us live, we also welcome you. Um, I just want to add right at the beginning to hang in there with us till to the end. If you're interested in an Africa safari with Ntaba tours down the line, we have a great value add offer for you. I'm going to make at the end of this, so stick with us. Anyway, welcome to Let's Talk Travel. I'm Pat Hand, the owner and founder of Dancing Moon. We've been around since July of 2008, planning fabulous vacation experiences for our clients, as well as group travel by land and by sea. So basically, for 12 years, we've been saving our clients time, money, and mistakes with amazing vacation packages. I want to remind everybody, we were here long before COVID ever came around. We've been here faithfully for our clients all through the COVID crisis, and we're going to be here long after this is all behind us. But with that out of the way, I want to welcome tonight a very special guest, Robin Mountain, who's along with his wife Stella, are the owners of Ntaba African Tours. Welcome, Robin.
Thank you very much, Pat. We really appreciate that. And it's been a very trying time for all of us in a lot of different ways. And my heart and my soul goes out to anybody who has lost a family member from COVID. I salute you and rest in peace. I had COVID in February, and I wasn't diagnosed. I was diagnosed as not having flu A or B. And later, when the doctor spoke to me, they said, "Well, we are pretty sure that you had it." And I'm grateful to the grace of God that I'm still here. But having summited Kilimanjaro 3 times, I think it's going to take a meteorite to take me out.
My goodness, I didn't realize that, Robin, that you had suffered through a bout of this. So glad that you came through unscathed. And folks, I connected with Robin and Stella. Now, I can't remember, Robin, where exactly we were. I think we were in South Florida here somewhere, but it was one of the big travel shows one year, and I was able to track down that it was in 2012. So we've known each other a while. But folks, I don't know if you've ever been to one of these events, any kind of a big trade show. You've got rows and rows of suppliers, and you go from one to the next. And a lot of times with some of these programs, they set appointments for us. I may talk to 20 different people, but really, by the time I leave there, most of the time, I can't remember who's who, what's what, who's selling what, and which ones I liked and which ones I did. My mind is a muddled mess by the time I leave there usually. But every year, there's one or two that stand out from the crowd. And when I connected with you guys at that show, we had a delightful conversation. You were so real and down to earth and approachable and knew your stuff. We've been connected ever since. And there's nobody else that I would rather entrust my clients to for their Africa travel. And folks, just before I get into question and answer here with Robin, I just want to tell you we have some amazing, beautiful Africa images coming up in a bit, but I do have some questions for Robin to get us started. So hang in, we have some incredible visuals here that you don't want to miss, as well as that special offer. Don't forget about that as well. But Robin, tell us a bit about Ntaba Tours and where did the name come from and how did you get started? What's your story?
Okay, the word Ntaba is my last name in Zulu. Both my wife and I are 5th generation Africans. We speak 6 languages, and you can see how long ago Pat and I actually spoke, because we used to be Ntaba Tours. We rebranded about 10 years ago, and we are Ntaba African Safaris. And the reason is because somebody said to me, "Well, Robin, everybody does tours, but what do you specialize in?" And I said, "Taking people to Africa on safaris." And that is one area that has really grown our business, is that we don't send you to Africa, we take you. Sure, I can't lead every single group anymore, and there are no groups to lead at the moment. I think we are all well aware of that. But exciting news, Tanzania is opening at the moment. By the 4th of July, KLM is going to have flights in and out of Kilimanjaro Airport. So that's really exciting. I'm leading a group to the gorillas in September. We're doing the gorillas, and then we're doing the migration. And we grew our company. In fact, Pat, you'll love this. We were at one of the travel shows, and I think I go to more than you do.
I'm sure.
We had somebody say, well, do I really want to go to Africa with a mama and pop show like this? And I think it was Jackie Friedman, and I apologize if it wasn't, but they simply put their arms around her.
Jackie Friedman, everybody in the travel industry knows Jackie Friedman. She's a big name.
And I had the privilege of taking her to Africa, and she just said, who would you rather have looking after your clients? And the thing is, we are South African born. We are true African Americans. No offense to anybody. We became citizens. In fact, it was in Florida at one of the meetings that was so funny. When we got our citizenship, we were so excited and we were so proud. And we were telling somebody in the group while I was doing my presentation said, "Oh, so are you going to start paying taxes now?" I was so tempted to say, "Do I get a refund?"
Wow. Amazing that it's really a story, and we're going to hit a lot more on some of what you said to flesh it out. I want to say hi to Cheryl and to Kathy and to Jan. I see they've all messages there. We're glad you're here tonight and here to enjoy Robin and learn more about what Ntaba Tours has to offer. And by the way, folks, feel free to enter your comments as we go along, because we'd love to. I'll try to keep up with them. I'm happy to answer, and I know Robin, if you have questions, would be happy to address those. So don't hesitate to raise any questions that you have, and I'll try to keep up with what's going on in the comments box. But Robin, South Africa is so diverse, and there's so much to see. You can't possibly, I know, do it all in one tour. But what are some of the different tour options that in a normal year? I know things are a little different here, but what types of trips and what are the most popular destinations? Are you able to offer customized experiences? Just some of that kind of stuff.
Absolutely. Everything is customized. What we have on the website, which I will share with you if you'd like me to share my screen, what we call our scheduled itineraries. That basically means that these are guaranteed departure dates. But by far the largest amount of safaris that we arrange are what we call FIT, which is a fully independent traveler. And the largest group that I had personally taken to Africa was 80 people.
80
people, and that was the University of Louisville's alumni, one of the easiest groups I've ever taken, because with 80 people and a very good tour conductor, that's all I needed. I've had groups of 8, that's 08 that I've had trouble with. But no, and then just a single person. We had somebody phone one day from Chicago, and he wanted to do a safari to Africa. Took all his credentials down, and then I said, "Well, how many are going to be in your group?" He said, "Just me." And then I made the politically incorrect mistake when I said, "Don't you have any friends?" Exactly. So and again, multi-generational. We've had some the end of the year before last. We had about 5 families where either grandma had died or grandpa had died, or grandma and grandma were still alive. And they said, instead of taking this money to the grave with us or leaving it for you we're going to take you to Africa. And it was some of the most beautiful groups. In fact, we had so many groups in South Africa at that stage, and East Africa too, that Stella and myself were guiding groups separately. And what a lot of people really enjoy about it is I take you home, especially to South Africa. A lot of people enjoy having tea with my mother when we go to Cape Town. My mom's Facebook page is phenomenal.
Wow.
Just something small, small. I mean, none of us will ever have the privilege of meeting Nelson Mandela, I actually had the privilege of running against him in political office. I ran for a Christian party called the African Christian Democratic Party, and I ran in the province or the state of Mpumalanga. And yeah, it was my privilege. I enjoyed it. It was a good ride while it lasted. We got people into the White House with the equivalent to the White House, and it was great. But I have built up a tremendous relationship with a man by the name of Christo Brand, who was Nelson Mandela's prison warder. He wrote the book Mandela, My Prisoner, My Friend. And to have dinner with that man and his wife, it's just one of the most amazing experiences. We've had everybody like, well, what was the highlight of your trip? And I'm the big old game ranger, and I want to be, we saw the lion pulling down a buffalo, and then meeting Christo Brand, meeting Mandela's prison warder. And I've had a couple of people, of color, Black Americans, getting quite offended that I've got this white prison officer and whatever. They came out of there, and Christo Brand's son used to get handwritten letters, of course smuggled out by Daddy, that were signed with love from Uncle Nelson. I mean, so that's where South Africa is just. I mean, we have a lot of ways to. We have a lot of good examples. We had a lot of bad examples. We've got a lot of good examples to show the world. I often say, when we talk the whole color card, and sorry that it's going to come up now, but I say, look at the South African flag. That's what color we are. And
Yeah.
if you know the color of the South African flag, that's the rainbow.
It really is. It really is. And it's just, now you said you could share your screen. You want to see if you could, I don't know if we can do that. If you're able to do that, you want to just try sharing your screen and show us a couple of the tours. Take about 2 minutes to, if you're able. There's a share screen. Can you see that share screen down there at the very bottom?
Yeah, I'm trying. It's not letting me do it. This is the first time I've used this platform.
Well, it was my first. I didn't know if a guest would be able to share or not, but
maybe sorry about that, guys.
It's way down at the bottom. It's I've got something here that says share screen, camera, mic. You see that on yours?
It's not allowing me to do it, unfortunately.
Okay, well, no biggie, because I hadn't really planned for that anyway. So you just offered. I thought we'd see if we could make it work. But if I had your website up here, I could probably do it. But I don't. So we're not going to do that. But Robin, tell me about 2 or 3 of the most popular tours that you do. What would some of the options? You mentioned gorillas, but I know that you do like Victoria Falls. There's what are the 2 most popular tours?
I think, okay, South Africa certainly is, and and again, please forgive me, and I'm feeling probably oversensitive to it right now, but I was accused in Africa the other day of being a racist. And it was like, oh God, I'm sick and tired of that crap. And I was in Kenya, and we were sitting around the campfire, myself and a couple of the Maasai warriors, and 1 or 2 of my friends from the travel industry who were with me. And I looked at this guy and I said to him, listen, I'm 5th generation African. I speak 6 languages. My Swahili is not that good. My Zulu is better. And I said, why am I a racist? He says, because all you talk about is South Africa, South Africa, South Africa. So
where you were born and raised.
Exactly. I said, you can call me a regionalist, not a racist. Anyway, so South Africa is really a beautiful, beautiful destination to get to. And one of the things is, I want to take you on a safari where you are comfortable. I want to take you on a safari where I am 99% sure that we will see the Big 5. I want you to go where the dollar is stronger than the South African rand. And I want, especially you, Pat, I want you to be able to put a group together that, will be your next group and your next group and your next group. We have so many travel professionals who have booked with us 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 times. And then it's a honeymoon here or it's something there. So guys, please, you've all got Pat's details. You get hold of her, pressurize her, guys. You don't tell her this, okay? pressurize her. and, and Pat, you will put a wonderful group together. And guys, I like small too. Size matters. It really, really does. And
There's several people here saying they'd like to do a small personal tour. So, all right, y'all know how to get hold of us now.
exactly. And the Pat, one of the expressions I have in the business is, it's not where you go, but who you go with. And that's it. I don't want to shoot one of my competition in the foot, but Abercrombie and Kent are actually owned by a Chinese consortium. And when I have people say, "Oh, can we compare you to Abercrombie and Kent?" It's like, "You're welcome." And that's important. So going to South Africa. Another question I need to ask you, and this is where South Africa is wonderful for your initial safari experience. Do you know how many shots you need to go to South Africa? Vaccinations. Come on. You got.
Can I just guess? None.
No, well, everybody can answer as well. How many shots do you need?
Okay. All right, guys. I can see the comments. Everybody, we want to have. Take your best guess. How many injections would you be required to take if you were to go to South Africa?
How many shots?
How many shots? How many? I've got one guess. One guess is 0. Cheryl says none. Kathy says 1. Jan says none that she's aware of. So tell us what it is.
1, guys. You need 1 shot, and whoever said 1 was right. You need a shot. You need a shot of whiskey when you get there with me.
Okay, I love that. So that's why injection wasn't working. It had to be a shot. Okay.
And I love to make that joke because really it is as simple as that. We've all, and another thing, your American passport has got to be valid for 6 months after you leave the country, and that's just standard procedure. You've got to have more than 2 or 4 empty pages at the back, but it's very, very simple. And what I love about it is it's a seamless safari. I often say to people, the only thing you've got to buy is your bling and your booze. Okay, that's the order. But that's
right. You have a very inclusive
absolutely, yeah.
To end.
But I love it when people say, and are the hotels included? It's like, dude, when did you last travel? Everything's included. And I've had people say to me, do you have Uber in South Africa? Of course we do. Okay, but you'll never if you're getting on an Uber, that's just because you're being a total whatever, because you don't want to be with a group, or because I put you on one. No. Everything is taken care of, and that's important. We have a lot of these all-inclusive trips down into the Caribbean. This is exactly what it is. And yes, there is more unpacking and packing compared to a cruise. By the way, I love river cruising. I've done a couple of AMA waterway river cruises, and I love them because why? You unpack once and that's it. But another thing that I also ask my clients, especially my elderly clients or somebody with physical challenges, don't pick up your suitcase. Don't. When you get off that airplane in South Africa, that's what I pay my guides to do for you. They will pick your suitcase up. They will take it to the hotel for you. It'll be taken to your room for you. Don't drag your big old suitcase down the stairs. That's what we have the porters for, and that does make a big difference on a trip. Pat is very kindly giving away a very nice goodie bag, and I'm going to throw some African coffee in there because I actually own two coffee houses in Louisville, Kentucky, and we import East African.
You live in Louisville now too. I don't think we ever mentioned that. We meant U.S., but you live right in Louisville.
I live in the thick of it right now, guys. Bang! No, I'm teasing. Anyway, so what I've done is I've got my safari company right in the middle of one of my coffee shops, and people absolutely love it. Come in for a cup of coffee and walk out with a safari. So okay, Pat has got that goodie bag. We'll add to the bag when you leave for Africa with a windbreaker, a ball cap. We'll give you bag tags. We'll also give you adapters because our electricity is much stronger than what it is here in the USA. And we will give you a book with your name and all your details in it. But even more important than that is the app that we will give you for your phone, with your itinerary on it. It's lovely.
Yeah.
You've got your whole itinerary, and I love it.
I mean, talk about a one-stop. This beats the Caribbean all-inclusive, beginning to end. Listen, guys, I have here a bunch of beautiful images. And Robin, what I thought we'd do next is let's go to some of these fabulous images that you sent us, and let's just go through them, and you make some commentary where it was, or any funny story or anything that has to go with it. I'm just going to start going through these images here, and just chime in.
Okay. Ooh, 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 ooh. Guys, what we talk about so often in Africa is we stop and we listen to the sunset or to the sunrise. This is the sun setting. And in fact, we have one of our states in South Africa named after the sun. Mpumalanga is the state where this picture was taken. Actually, the game reserve is known as Karangwe, and Mpumalanga is the most eastern province in South Africa. The word Mpuma means to come up. Ilanga is the sun. So it's the exact opposite. You see, I can see that the sun is going down in behind the mountain there, and so the opposite word for east is of course west, and that is Shonalanga. Ushonile means to die. So that's where the sun dies. But this is what a typical game drive road will look like.
Okay.
Good animals on it.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Yeah.
And here we go.
Can I say I'm speechless? Guys, it's just, please understand that this is the first time in 13 years that I have spent a full spring in Kentucky. I'm usually this time of the year, I'm leading safaris in Africa. And this is one of the greatest experiences that we have. It's on the Chobe River. Now, Pat and I will meet later in the week, and I will share some itineraries with Pat that we include Chobe Safari. Now, a great time of the year is September, October, November. That's the end of that's spring in Southern Africa, or March, April, May, which is fall. June, July, August is winter in South Africa, and not always the most comfortable for being out on game drives. But this photograph I took on the Chobe River. We're on a boat, and you are, as you can see, you're eye level with the elephants.
That is just fabulous. And let's see here. Here we go.
One of the things I love as well is not just check. We saw zebra, we saw elephant. It's like, what were they doing? And this was actually quite a hairy sight that we saw here. All of a sudden, these zebra were getting a fright, and something chased them. And I can't point on the screen, but up in the right hand area here, a leopard just very casually walked past. And that's what a game drive's about, guys. Nobody arranges anything except for us to be where we hope the action's going to be.
Yeah, this is not Disneyland. You can't orchestrate any of this. It's just what happens, and people just have to be ready for the moment and experience the moment. Here's a great image, Robin.
And I'm going to give Stella all the credit for that. That's one of Stella's photographs. And you don't have to be an amazingly good natural photographer. I know you work with a lot of photographers, Pat. But this, I think, I think she took it with a Canon, and it was an older camera, but it was the early morning light. Look at that. It was that golden hour. And this could be anybody's photograph. And a beautiful statistic about cheetah is that we can walk them. What we mean by walk them, if cheetah have made a kill, we're actually able to get out of the vehicle and go towards the cheetah. We stay still a very healthy distance away from them, about 20 yards. And as long as you don't hunker down, you stand up tall, it's very safe to do that. One of the game reserves that we frequent very often have got a beautiful, I wouldn't even call them a pride of cheetah, because cheetah are solitary, but they have 5 cheetah, 3 males and 2 females. And it's I'll tell you a sad story, but a lovely story. that I led a group of travel agents year before last, and right at the end of the trip, we were at this game reserve, and we'd walked these cheetah, so it was a denser area, and I'm standing there, and this lady, in fact, this particular travel agent was from New Jersey. She's not with us any longer, and she was taking a cancer drug that was so potent that it didn't even have a name. It had a number, and her little hand just shakes into my hand like that. And I squeezed her hand and I said, "What's the matter, sweetie?" And she said to me, "Robin, you know I shouldn't be here." And that's one of the privileges you have in Africa. I can take you to the game reserve, but like you say, Pat, this is not Disneyland. We let nature happen for us.
Now here's another image.
This is a beautiful
wings.
I took this one in Botswana, and these are known as lechwe, and they have an amazing ability. I mean, you can see how high they're jumping. Look at that, clear off the water. I mean, and you can see when they go down into the water. Now, I'm not sure if any of you can see my screen or not, but they have got what we call a webbed clay. So between their front toes, they've got a web, so that when they hit the mud, they don't sink all the way down into the mud. And again, as I say, I didn't sit there and say, "Okay, guys, run in front of me. Let's see what we can do." What was chasing these females was a male.
Now here's a particularly beautiful animal.
Hey, they taste and they taste pretty good too. No, these are known as warthogs, and people ask why warts. If you carefully look in the face, those warts hanging down, that's where they get their name from, warthog. And just some of the clowns of the bush.
And by the way, Robin, these are all your photographs that you have personally taken. You're quite a photographer, you and Stella.
Thank you, ma'am. Appreciate that.
Here's another one. What in your opinion is the most dangerous animal in Africa?
Us.
aside from the humankind.
There we go. Guys, it is the hippo. But the funniest thing with the hippo, it is carnivore. It is herbivorous. It is herbivorous. It doesn't eat meat. And the only way you get attacked by a hippo is if you're walking down near the rivers, and it's usually at night, and you happen to walk across their path. Hippos do not jump into motorboats and eat people. They might get upset because you're too close to their breeding herd. Well, unfortunately, I do look like a hippo and sometimes myself. But you are very safe. This was one of the game reserve lodges that we stay in very frequently, and this is how close the animals will come to one. These elephants were coming down to a waterhole, but the lodge, even down to the lodges that we use, we choose them very carefully. Stella and I go to a very large travel show in May of every year, except this year, of course, and this is where we meet these owners of these lodges. And we will not put you into any hotel or lodge that we haven't stayed in ourselves before.
Perfect. Look how close you guys are to those elephants there.
Now, let me explain to you, we don't drive up to the elephants. We will drive to where we presume they're coming out of the bush. Now, I was in another vehicle. I didn't jump out of that vehicle, take the photograph, and jump back into the vehicle. So we are very, very conscious about not getting into their space. I was going to make please, guys, I'm not going political here, but all lives matter. When you're in the bush, you respect their space, you respect their life, because we are not threatening them from the vehicle, and we're not feeding them from the vehicle. So, in other words, we are respecting their life, we're respecting their space. And because of that, they respect us. I've actually had a big elephant bull come and rest his trunk on my shoulder. One day, I was sitting very quietly minding my own business in the back of the vehicle. I had my group with me. And this big old boy just put his trunk on my shoulder. And it was the most amazing experience. I mean, the tears were just rolling down my cheeks. But, it's not a zoo. I didn't stroke his trunk and say, "Good boy, I love you."
Yeah.
we're just very privileged to. And in fact, in this vehicle, I don't know if you can see it, but there's a young girl inside here as well, and she wasn't scared at all because of the tracker who sits in the front of the vehicle, the game ranger who's driving it. We're telling our clients we don't feed the animals, so they don't look at us to come for food, and we don't hurt them, so they won't try and hurt us either.
Yeah. And here's another image of an animal that gets a lot of press for being a dangerous.
This is, guys, if I ask you if this is a black rhino or a white rhino, what would you say? Come on, let's ask some questions.
Okay, guys, let me see here. Let's have, anybody want to say black or white? A lot of wows, yows. Cheryl, I've heard that hippos are mean. And Jan says, what an incredible photo. So people are loving these images, Robin. So black, Kathy says white. Anybody for a black?
Okay, guys, I'm going to tell you why it's called a white rhino. Okay, do you see the breadth of the lip of that animal? Do you see how broad the lip is? Below.
Yeah.
And the Dutch settlers were the ones who named the animals, and they named this animal the wijd-lip renoster. Do you hear that? The wide-lipped rhino. And of course, the British, knowing everything and knowing everything about everything, said, "What is that white rhino there, boy?" And that is really the honest truth. Why the white rhino became the white rhino. What's the opposite to white? Black. And that's why the black rhinos, and it's got nothing to do with color.
Nothing to do with color.
Absolutely nothing.
Here we've got another image here. The bracelets, those are fabulous.
I love it. It's just part of me. And as I say, that's one of the only things you need to buy on safari is your bling. What we always try to do is include a wine estate. And as you say, Pat, these are all my own photographs. We were having lunch one day, and I said, guys, can I grab your glasses of wine, please, quickly? I've got a great photo idea. And so for any photographers that we go with, I love to lead your groups because of my photographic experience. And this was just a lovely advert for Groot Constantia.
And I know that when you take photographers out, you make sure that they all are at the end of a, where they have exposure. They're not crammed three with somebody sitting in a middle seat. You really make sure that everybody has the chance to get their shots.
Correct. With photographers, we take that middle seat out because we use that for our equipment. So generally, I won't allow somebody in that middle seat, and it's great because we do have this lens, that lens, this filter, that filter, this body, that body, and and I tell you the most painful people to take, although I'm an avid one myself, are bird watchers, because we drive about 2 miles an hour.
You got the birds, they're I think notoriously hard to photograph. Folks, I want to share with you here a couple of things here. This is what you will find if you look for reviews of Ntaba tours. This is what you find. If there's a bad word out there about them, I was unable to find it. So here's we've got 4 reviews that we've pulled here. Nothing but 5-star. That's why we love Ntaba tours. You guys don't just talk the game. The experience that you provide for the clients is just absolutely amazing. I've got one more question for you, Robin. I want to ask it, and just an approximate ballpark about what should a person budget for a ballpark figure these days for an African trip with you, kind of an entry level trip. What would you say?
Between $4,000 and $5,000 for 2 weeks, excluding your air. And that's, again, everything included. You arrive in South Africa, and we usually leave out of Zimbabwe or Botswana. So you've had Cape Town with the penguins, you've had Table Mountain, you've had the wine estate, you've met Nelson Mandela's prison warder, And then we go up to the game reserves, and all I can just say is wow. I mean, those photos you showed could be the first 5 minutes of a game drive, and
Wow, that is amazing.
and,
I
and
didn't
then
get that. So here again, here's the special that Dancing Moon's offering, and you heard what all uh, that Robin has said that he will add to the mix here. But we've got sunscreen, insect repellent, a little first aid kit, flashlight, and binoculars, and that came out. I've totaled it all up. It's $150 value, and you can get that. Just you can contact. How do people get you, Robin, when they want to reach out to you direct?
Pat, I think it would be best if they got hold of you, that you actually put a group together. Um,
Okay, we
so
can certainly do that. You can always most of you know how to reach me. You can call Pat at 404-735-5774. You can email me, Pat at dancingmoontravel.com. Y'all know I pick up my phone, but we are so very grateful for you joining us tonight, Robin. It's been great to chat with you, and we're so glad to have you on board. And folks, you don't want to miss next week. We're going to be talking to Jan Fowler, one of my long time clients, and we're going to be talking about all things cruise and some of her experience and cruising as a family vacation, accessible cruising, all kinds of just miscellaneous stuff. So plan for that now. And Robin, hang around for just a minute here. I'm just about to sign off, but folks, get in touch with us. We'd love to book you with Ntaba Tours. There's nobody I can recommend more highly, and I sincerely mean that, bottom of my heart. I respect these guys so much and can't recommend them highly enough. And with all that said, thanks everybody for tuning in, and we will be with you again next week. And Robin, hang on. I just want to touch base real quick. Thanks, everybody.
and I'm looking forward to taking you to Africa.
Good deal.
Thank you.